You guys know out the gate, I always have something to address. This is today's topic of aggression. I'm back home. I was in an internship. I'm back home for school now. And that means we have a new backdrop. And I just moved, so that's why it looks kind of barren. As you can see, we got a bit back there. The IKEA plant. We got some creatine. We're going to work on it, okay? This is going to be improved. Everything back here. Poster. I don't know. I'll figure something out. But please don't harass me about it in the comments. I'm very insecure about it, okay? Overrated cars. Now, I did cars that are overhated. Defended a few cars. People didn't like that because I kind of defended the Cybertruck. But today we're talking about cars that are overrated. So instead of me defending the cars you hate, I'm going to be attacking the cars that you love. It is time for the tiers. We have a variety of them, starting at accurately rated, a bit too hyped, overpriced, where it's not overrated necessarily, but if the price came down, then it'd be accurately rated. Then we have overrated, pretty standard. Then vastly overrated. You know it's serious because we have that all caps. Let's just get right into the video. Starting off, we have every single new Toyota, okay? Let me explain. Now, Toyotas are known as like the best car brand widely, okay? They're like the standard for a good car. They're reliable. They hold their value, probably because they're reliable. They're just good cars, right? But there's an issue with this being so widely known. It's that now the demand is high, okay? If they're good cars, the demand's gonna be high. Pretty standard stuff. I know, nothing groundbreaking. And here's the issue with that, okay? I've talked about dealers a few videos back and how they pretty much just inflate prices for the hell of it when they're just bored or when they want more money. And they do this with Toyotas. So Toyota dealerships in specific are the absolute worst to deal with because they have such an ego. They're like, we got the best cars. We can do whatever we want. People will still buy our cars. So what ends up happening is they'll throw $5,000, even $10,000 markups on these cars because they can, and people will still buy them. Now, markups on these cars are insane, okay? Putting a markup on something like a Toyota RAV4 is crazy. Why? Well, I got a joke for you, okay? What do you call a marked up Toyota? A Lexus. You call it a Lexus. You can just go and buy, with the markup money, a Lexus, okay? For an example, if a RAV4 is priced at $40,000, they throw a $10,000 markup, which they probably wouldn't, but let's just say, right? 50 grand, you're now looking at a Lexus NX, which is the Lexus version of the Toyota SUV. I hope that makes sense. Additionally, there are other alternatives that don't mark up their cars and that actually have them available. Mazda is fantastic. Pretty much the same reliability as Toyota, but way more fun to drive. Honda is a similar story. These cars just have like a choke hold on the industry. It's just ridiculous, okay? I think they're way too overrated and overpriced for what they are. If they were fairly priced, they would be fine. But the fact they're demanding markups, and there's other options, I'm going to put this in overrated. Next up, we have the Supra. This is the classic, right? The nostalgia, the tunability, it's a legendary car. And for that reason, it inflates the price like crazy. I get these are some of like just the most famous legendary cars, but truly, if you objectively look at the car you're getting for how much they demand, is it worth it? Probably not. I'm not going to dive too much into this one. I'm just going to put this in overpriced. Next up, we have the Honda Civic Type R. Now, for those of you who don't know, we have the base Civic, just your standard car. And then the Type R is the performance, souped up version of the regular Civic. And it has garnered a lot of attention because it's the fastest front wheel drive car around the Nürburgring. It's a high performance hatch. It's reliable. These are just cool cars, okay? Everyone wants them. And what you'd expect from a car like this is that, yes, you get that performance, but since it's still a Honda Civic, it's going to be reasonably priced. But that's just not true, okay? Honda Civics in general are very expensive. They hold their value well. So even if you're looking at like a used base model from like 5 years back, you're still looking at around 20 grand. So that's the base model. The Type R is just even more overpriced, okay? Dealers are demanding like 60, 70. I've seen ones for $80,000. And yes, these are souped up, but they still only have 300 horsepower. They're still front wheel drive. Like, they're nothing insane, right? And if you're spending 70, 80 grand on a car, you should not get a Civic, okay? These are super cool cars. I'd love to get one. It's an attainable dream car of mine, but for the price, okay, just not worth it. Another classic, overpriced. Next up, okay, the GT3 RS, the Porsche 911 GT3 RS. Now, back maybe 5 years ago when everyone talked about their dream car, it'd be the Lamborghini Huracan or the Aventador. That was like the standard dream car from like either enthusiasts or non-enthusiasts. Mostly non-enthusiasts would pick the Huracan to be their dream car. Now that's since shifted to the GT3 RS. This is the new standard dream car for like a lot of young people like myself. Additionally, for the people that can actually buy them, it has a lot of hype and it's exclusive. It's just a really cool car. Now, I'm not going to sit here and diss this car in any way. This is a beautiful machine. But if you think about as far as 911s go, it is not the best option. It should not be everybody's dream car. And if you have like multi-hundred thousands to buy a 911, for most people, this is not the one you should be getting. Let me explain, okay? Now, the 992 GT3 RSs, I think, go for in the 400s. And they're cool cars, right? They're very track purposed. But the thing is, barely any of these people are taking these cars on the track. So if you're going to have one ultimate dream car, why would you get a completely track-focused car when you could look other places in the 911 lineup that just are better all around? For example, the 911 Turbo is around half the price. I'm really eyeballing these prices here, but it's around half the price and is just a better car, okay? It's faster, it has more creature comforts, it's better to daily, right? Just a better supercar all around. Whereas the only thing the GT3 RS has over the 911 Turbo is better lap times. So if you are so rich that you can buy a dedicated car to track, then fair enough, get the GT3 RS. But if you just want one ultimate supercar, the 911 Turbo is the no-brainer here. So for that reason, I hate to do this, okay? It's a great car. It's overrated though. Next up, the best-selling car for like multiple years in the US and I think Canada as well. We have the Tesla Model 3. Now you're expecting me to slam dunk on this car. It's accurately rated. These are fantastic cars. You want electric, you want something that has good performance, and you want something that has high tech and decently reliable. So far, it's the Model 3. Next up, the NA Miata. Now, for the Miata, you have 4 generations. There's 3 newer ones, but then there's the original NA, okay? And the NA is the one with the pop-up headlights. It's the one with like pretty much no airbags, nothing. Just a bare bones, fun little convertible. Here's the issue. This is the one that gets the cult following because it has the pop-up headlights mostly, and it's because it's the most just stripped-backed, enjoyable car. But when a car like this gets a lot of love, it means it also gets a high price tag. And these cars, without AC, without airbags for the most part, made completely of plastic, underpowered cars are going for like 10 grand for clean examples. And that's just not worth it. 5, 6, 7 years ago, probably, when these were not as hyped, you could pick them up for like 3, 4 grand. That's what they're worth because these are old plastic cars. Why would you spend like 10 grand on a car with no airbags or AC? You could step up a generation, lose the pop-up headlights, but get a much better car. There's no reason anybody should be paying 10 grand for an NA Miata. They're still cheap like they used to be. Fair enough, but they're not. This car is overpriced. Next up, we got the Ford F-150. This is a standard, American dad, just standard truck, okay? This is the best seller of all vehicles, all passenger vehicles in America. However, I would way rather get a Toyota Tundra or like a Honda Ridgeline or just a smaller used truck than this car, right? Japanese cars are usually always just better. I think, yes, they're decent trucks, but there's no reason they should be the best seller. Just a bit too hype. Nothing crazy here. Next up, we got the Instagram model course seller special. We got the Lamborghini Urus. Now, Lamborghini for the longest time just made these little sports cars, these cute little sports cars. Then they decided to venture in, like every other brand now, into the SUV market. And what they released is the Lamborghini Urus. Now, the Lamborghini Urus is a cool car, right? But the issue is it was co-developed with Audi's top SUV, the RS Q8. If you know anything about how badging works, a badge can like double the price of a car. So you have pretty much identical cars developed together with the same internals, the RS Q8 from Audi and the Urus from Lamborghini, but there's like $150,000 price difference between them, but they're mechanically pretty much the same. So it begs the question, why would you get the Lambo? Well, I said the answer. It's because it's a Lambo. This is like everybody's dream car. It's like what all the Instagram models, when they start an OnlyFans, they get this car and it's like, okay, cool. Congrats on the car. But like, if you really just want a really fast, cool SUV, exactly the same as this, you can save so much money and get an Audi RS Q8. These are really not fantastic cars at all. They're really just bought by like rich influencers. Anyone who actually likes cars would either get the RS Q8 or skip it altogether. For that reason, because of how much hype they get, I have to put it in vastly overrated. Okay, I know what you're going to say. What color is your Lamborghini? Non-existent color. But just because I don't have one doesn't mean I can't acknowledge that these cars are going for too much for what they are because of the badge. Next up, we have any high-performance Dodge. The Dodge Hellcats, the Scat Packs, maybe the Demons as well. Any big engine V8 Dodge. Now, pretty much what Dodge does, which is super cool, is they take their, kind of cheap, not too high quality cars and throw massive motors into them and then sell them for cheap. Now, they are cheap cars other than what's under the hood, so they should be relatively cheap to buy. However, that is not the case. These cars, like a few years ago, used to be like pretty reasonably priced. Now they've gone up in price. They've gotten so hyped that people are paying like top dollar for these cars, but they're still Dodges, right? They have cool engines, but that's all they have going for them. I think if they're properly priced, knock yourself out. Cost per dollar, like horsepower per dollar, they're not that good anymore. They're overpriced. They inflated in price. Used ones are going for way too much, probably what they were bought for new. For that reason, overrated. Next up, we got the G-Wagon. It's really nothing special. No one's taking these off-road. Vastly overrated. The Jeep Wrangler. Now look, these are legendary. These are like top of the top off-roader cars. What's the issue? Is that the most off-roading any of these Jeep Wranglers do in their lifespan is over the curb at the Starbucks parking lot. Okay, these don't go anywhere else. These are literally just for the looks, okay? These get scooped up by like, blonde moms in their 40s or like, I don't know, young people, and they just get used for nothing except Starbucks runs. That's how it is. That's how it is with these cars. They're super expensive and they have terrible driving dynamics on road, right? They're meant for off-road. They're really not that great cars if you're not going to be taking them off-road. For that reason, they're overrated. And finally, we have the Honda S2000. Okay, it's their early 2000s, high revving, fun manual, not too overpowered sports car. Now, these cars new were like low 30s. Okay, and now used prices are commanding similar things, even higher, depending on the condition. Okay, and like the crappy high mileage ones are going for like 20 grand. So pretty much they've retained their value and even gained some if you've kept yours in good condition. A lot of people think this car is overpriced. Yes, it may seem that way, but if you really think about it, this is such a special car. They have a naturally aspirated 4-cylinder that makes like 240 horsepower, which is insane even from today's standards. It revs to 9K RPMs, which is just insane. It's a lightweight manual convertible. And they also weren't mass produced like an NA Miata, so they're kind of special. For that reason, it kind of makes sense that they're demanding the high price point, because they're really never going to see a car like this again. It is such a special car made by Honda, bulletproof engines. It's got like the F20C, I think that's the code for it. Just a cool car overall. If you really look at it objectively, okay, the car is not worth what it's demanding, but because of how special the cars are, it kind of makes it worth it. I'm going to balance this out at a little too hyped. Do you guys agree with the list? Let me know down below. This probably could use a part 2, so that too. Hairline reveal at 100K. I'm so serious about that. So subscribe, join the Discord, follow me on Instagram. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.